From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Lehman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Tuesday night on News Channel 5 Plus. Lots to get to tonight. Still talking a lot about the Titans getting set for preseason game number 2 on Sunday night against the Rams at Nissan Stadium. 7 o'clock. Should be interesting over there. I have a feeling that's going to be a fairly well-attended game. Between the fact that it's the home opener, it is Marcus Mariota's preseason debut, and Jeff Fisher's coming back to town. I think all of that makes for some intrigue for a preseason game, an early preseason game at that. 737-7767 is the number tonight if you'd like to get in and talk about what you saw in game number 1 in the preseason, what you expect to see this week, what you want to see. Love to talk to you. We had good conversation last night. We can continue that tonight. We can also hear from some of the Titans from this week's workouts and get a feel for what they're doing today and throughout the rest of the week. Big news today, though. The streak is over. The defense finally getting Marcus Mariota to crack and throw his first interception of training camp. He went 13 and a half practices, 231 passes without an interception. But finally today, Avery Williamson got his hand on a ball over the middle. It was deflected and then picked off by Zach Brown. The defense went nuts. Finally is what a lot of guys said as they get their first crack on Marcus Mariota. Quarterback's credit, he said afterwards, that's just going to happen at some point. It's probably good that we got it out of the way now. Ken Whisenhunt even took it a step farther and said, look, we're looking for a new quarterback now because obviously he's got to go to the bench after that throw. And so a lot of good-natured ribbing out there. I think some guys on the defense even joked that if they had their money on guys who are going to get the first interception, Zach Brown would have been very low on the list to come up with that pick. So a lot of fun out there today at St. Thomas Sports Park, and I think it's good too. And Whisenhunt made this point. The streak, even though it was just a practice streak, had gotten to be so long at this point that it really became the story every day. It's what people were talking about every day. Did he throw an interception yet? What's the streak up to now? How many passes has it been? That's what people talked about. And now that that's over, you can just go back to work and worry about some of the other things. So I think that's a good thing for this Titans team. And to Marcus Mariota's credit again, just like Friday night when he had really the disastrous start to his first preseason game with the interception in the game and then the strip sack in the pocket on his very next drop back. The way he bounced back in that game to go 5 of 5 and lead the Titans right back down the field for a touchdown. That's what he did today in practice. The interception came, and the next time he stepped on the field, he led the Titans right down the field and into the end zone. Very, very efficient on that drive. That's what you want to see from your quarterback. He seems to be a very composed guy that doesn't let anything around him faze him in any way, shape, or form. 737-7767 is our number if you would like to talk about Marcus Mariota and what you've seen from him so far, what you've heard about him so far. We can get to your questions and comments on that. The other big thing to me that is going on this week in training camp has been the shuffle on the offensive line. Byron Bell, who was brought in to really compete at right tackle for this Titans team, former Carolina Panther, has been moved into the first-team left guard position in front of Andy Levitre. And Jamon Meredith is now, a huge Jamon Meredith, is now playing at right tackle. Levitre is sitting there running second-team center at the moment. Jeremiah Patasi running second team at right tackle. Brian Schwenke currently out with a bit of a nagging injury at center. So Fernando Velasco's in on first team center right now and frankly playing pretty well. So kind of an interesting unit that you've got up front right now. Taylor Lewan at left tackle, Byron Bell now at left guard, Fernando Velasco at center, Chance Warmack locked in at right guard, and then Jamon Meredith at right tackle. Ultimately, I think Schwenke's back in that center position if you really press the issue right now. But I would say Bell and Meredith are the front runners for those other two positions, and no one would have guessed that coming into training camp. Before they put the pads on, no one would have thought that was possible. And for Andy Levitre, this is a guy that the Titans paid big money for 3 off seasons ago. And it wasn't just them. Everybody in the National Football League thought he was the best interior lineman on the market at that point. Big contract, big money to come in here and really solidify the left side of that offensive line. And injuries have hurt him the last couple of years. He's been ineffective. He's not always been out there. But this was the year. He was healthy in the spring and got work this offseason. He said coming into this camp that this was as good as he's felt as a Tennessee Titan. So this was supposed to be the time where you were going to see the real Andy Levitre to help this offensive line out. And we haven't seen it so far. And now he finds himself not just running second team, but he's running second team at center, not at left guard, the position he was brought in to be such a stalwart for the Titans at. What happens there? And if he's a second team guy, is he even on this roster? Because that's a lot of money to play for a guy that isn't necessarily going to play for you. How does that play itself out? Your thoughts on that? 737-7767 is the number. We want to hear from you tonight. Let's begin tonight with Courtney. Who do we have here? Philip, good evening.
Holy Moses. I'm going to tell you what. I saw you on Morning Line. I saw you last night. This Mariota shield of politically correctness is just ridiculous. He's a rookie quarterback. He's going to make massive mistakes. Massive mistakes. The Titans secondary obviously is horrible. Hence the no interception thing. I watched him play. He threw an interception on a screen pass. He got caught up from behind, lost a fumble, scored for a touchdown. And again, I just say we had a quarterback who could have gotten the job done, and we could have drafted so much more around him by giving up that pick. And I have no ill will for Marcus Mariota. Don't get me wrong. I'm not attacking him personally. But I'm telling you, Titans fans, don't think for a minute that this is going to change anything. You might go from 2 wins to 6, but that's going to be your ceiling right there. You might get 6 wins out of the sky. Congratulations. He's a short, little itty-bitty quarterback who's not going to get it done.
He's 6'4".
Down this road again.
He's 6'4".
I watched him play, and I don't care how tall he is.
You just said he was short.
I watched him play, and then I watched Mettenberger come in, and it was a completely different offense. I saw a big dude back there throwing the ball. When I was watching Mariota, he looked short. I don't care how tall he is. He looked short.
Okay, that's just a bizarre comment. I mean, the two guys are like an inch apart in height. Mettenberger's a big guy. He throws the ball well. There's no question about that. And he played pretty well the other night. But you know what? Marcus Mariota actually played pretty well the other night if you take away those 2 snaps. And the coaching staff themselves have come out and said, look, on the screen pass, the play got blown up. Bishop did one thing. The quarterback read the other thing. That stuff happens sometimes. And look, the other thing about that play which is why everything in the preseason has to be taken with some bit of a grain of salt, is Atlanta ran a base defense to that play, which you would never run that play into in a normal situation. But in preseason games, you just go out there and you do your stuff and kind of see what happens. They're not going to run that screen pass into that defense ever, except for on that play. And the way it happened, you have the linebacker really far outside. No one picks him up, so he's got a clear path into the back. Any quarterback's told on the screen pass, you have to trust that your linemen are going to block the guys and that you've got to get it out there. That's what he did on the play. And Mariota did one thing, Sankey did the other thing. Ultimately, you'd like him to burn it and get rid of the play and live to fight another down. But that's not a criminal error from the quarterback. It happens, especially in a preseason game like that. And the second one just simply isn't his fault. He's in the pocket. It was 2.3 seconds after the snap. I mean, that's your O-line getting beat. If you want to be down on the Titans right now, be down on this offensive line I'm talking about. They've been building this thing for 3 and 4 years, and they've spent money in free agency. They've spent high draft picks to get this thing right. And it doesn't appear right now that they have it close to right. And you've got a number 2 overall pick that you're trying to protect back there. If you've got a concern, it's the offensive line right now. Not the guy that's gone 231 passes before an interception in training camp and 7 of 8 in his preseason game. Yeah, there were mistakes. He made them. You're going to see more of them. He's a rookie. But the thing about Marcus Mariota that, again, you got to look back on this and take everything with a grain of salt. His track record for his life, Oregon, this training camp, everything he does is that he is a guy that makes minimal mistakes. He is great with ball security. So the fact that he turned the ball over on back-to-back dropbacks in the preseason, I choose to believe that's a fluke at this point and not who he is. May prove to be wrong. I mean, we'll see Sunday night how he performs. Obviously, we'll see throughout the regular season. But I've watched this guy all through the offseason and watched him every day in training camp and in that preseason game on Friday nights. And what you see is a guy who can make every throw and does not put the ball in harm's way. I mean, heck, the interception today had to be, it was on the money. It just got deflected off a shoulder pad of the receiver and then picked off by a linebacker 7 feet away from him. Stuff like that happens sometimes. Doesn't mean it was a terrible throw. And that's what you've seen is you're not seeing terrible throws from Marcus Mariota right now, and that is why I think you can have a lot of faith in what he can do for this team moving forward. Let's take a break. Phone lines are lighting up, as you might expect. 737-7767 is the number. We'll get to more of those right after this here on SportsLine.